Welcome back, episode 25. A quarter of the way to 100.
Wow.
That's a lot of hours we spent here. Yeah, quarter of the
Only
way.
a year and a half to
You
go.
should have, well, since we're at the halfway point, we were just talking about it, you should have said halfway through to 50. Never mind, that was shitty.
Halfway to
I
50?
ruined your intro, I'm
Halfway
sorry.
to 50.
A quarter of the way to 100. That means we matter if we hit 150. Like,
We passed our
that's
age in
normal.
podcasts.
We did!
Yeah. Last episode, though.
No,
so-
well, no.
Whatever.
Well,
I just thought of it
now
now.
we're for sure past our age.
Yeah.
What do you got for us?
Okay.
on?
So today we have Jets talk. They had 4 games since between last podcast and this podcast. A coach hitting milestone. Jet hitting milestone. With the All-Star rosters being announced, so we'll talk about that. It's been the midway point for all the teams in the NHL, so I want to do mid-season awards, and we'll run down you guys all the injuries, suspensions, and trades
ridiculous.
in a week.
Ridiculous!
Like, there was more
Just
injuries.
for Minnesota, though, because that's the only team that did anything.
Oh my god!
The amount of injuries, suspensions, trades that happened in 1 week defeats what happened in 2 weeks in the NHL when we didn't.
It
true.
defeated the 3 weeks that we
Okay.
basically took off.
So before we get into Jets talk, I just want to leave you guys with one thing. I was looking through pre-draft rankings because I was bored one night.
That's what we do.
In the
Canadians.
third round, Winnipeg currently is projected to draft this player. His name is Joel Ek Eriksson. Best hockey name.
Ek Eriksson?
Ek Eriksson.
Is he a Swede?
Finn, I believe.
Ooh.
Ek Eriksson.
Ek
Eriksson.
Ek Eriksson. It's alright. I can deal with that.
It's a
Is
sweet
he
name,
forward?
isn't
What
it?
is he?
Forward, I believe.
That's
Look
awesome.
at Talking TV. Oh!
Yeah.
What?
New Cap Geek site. That's not Cap Geek. NHLnumbers.com. Boom. There you go. That's
Done.
where you can now you can get your. I don't know if it's as.
NHLnumbers.com.
I don't know if it's as good as
Cam will
Cap
tweet
Geek.
that.
Yeah,
but
I know I'm lucky.
It's. I used it the other day when we were talking about Mike Richards. It has everyone's current contracts up there. So if you want to start your own site, maybe you could.
You know what I
copy some
thought of?
numbers
Would
out.
be literal. What is the worst site that could go down for hockey people?
TSN?
Hockey DB. Hockey DB. I use that
Yeah.
every day.
I use
Cap
it
Geek,
all
I
the
use it
time.
a lot, but
Yeah.
Hockey DB, I'm like, oh yeah. How many goals did he have? How many goals did he have? And then you go Hockey DB and you're like, yeah, we had 10 goals and he was 11. Suck it.
Yeah, like this Joel Ek Eriksson.
That's a pretty good name. I'm not
Ek
gonna lie.
Eriksson.
Ek.
All right,
Is he gonna have like the Van Riemsdyk where the Ek is on a smaller name bar and then the rest of it's on a big one?
could be.
Maybe. Who knows?
Ek Eriksson is his Twitter handle. That's the best.
That's
Who
awesome.
knows?
It's like Snizbone.
Should we get
Oh,
this
they
thing
all
rolling?
Oh, guys.
Let's roll it.
Yeah, let's do
Roll
it.
into it.
Oh, so when we last left, there's the right words.
It's the middle of the week, Dan. There's no excuse to
Tired. I've
not.
been sick for like 3 days. Give
No
me a
one
break.
gives a shit.
I've had a sore throat for a month
you know
and
what?
a half.
This is not the right acoustics to ask this for me.
Acoustics.
Acoustics.
You said acoustic.
He said acoustics.
You will hear it later.
It's coming back.
All right.
Anyways,
It's a me cute.
so last Thursday the Jets played Arizona. First of a 3-game road trip.
Did they play
probably
them, or did they get dominated?
probably the game that everyone thought they would win, and I didn't watch it, but apparently it was a stinker. That's what I heard.
Hold on, wait. I just farted. That
Apparently-
was a better
Yeah.
time than that Jets game. That was
Supposedly it was the worst game they've played all year. They just didn't. They had no intensity, no drive. Only goal was Matthew Pro.
And
Go.
go.
Well, the big issue I think in this game was like 20 seconds in. I was listening to it on the radio before the game started. They were talking on the pregame show how the team needs to be more disciplined. What do they do 20 seconds in? Brian Little takes a goaltender interference penalty, and Phoenix scores on that. And then they pot another one just after that, and they're down 2-0, and they have to climb their way back all game. So I think they were a little demotivated because of that. But once again, they lose when Pavlik's in net. No blame. I'm not blaming Pavlik for this loss. The crazy thing about this game was, if he wasn't in net, the final score was 4-1. If he wasn't in net, that game could have been easily 8-1.
I just want to
He
say
played really well.
Pavlik hasn't beat anyone since the Oilers Sabres game dating back to November 8th.
That's
And
pretty well.
just a quote from this game, Mikhail Bodker, he had 3 points for the Arizona Coyotes. I was so close to saying it. He said, Dan, you're going to like this. Shutting down all the Canadian fans was nice. We enjoy when there's a packed building, but it's always nice when you can hear your hometown cheer. The fans
Wow.
cheering for them were from Winnipeg. I just want you to know that. They were just a good goal, like, fine, whatever.
Yeah,
I mean,
job.
Pavlik's in net, whatever.
So, yeah.
Okay.
So that was the stinker. Then they go Saturday, they played LA. They actually scored on their first 3 shots of the game were all goals.
That was ridiculous.
Perot, Little, Wheeler all scored first 3 shots on one of the best goalies in the hockey. So, I mean...
In the hockey.
In the
hockey,
in the
guys.
hockey.
In the
Hey,
hockey.
I agree with that.
Good start, but it was all for naught. LA scored 4 straight goals to take a 4-3 lead early in the third period. Shortly thereafter, though, Bogo did score. Oh, by the way, Bogo came back in the game against Arizona.
Didn't he
Yeah.
assist on
And-
that Perot's goal?
The rest of the team came back in this game.
Oh.
Stuart, Kane, and Toby all played
Oh,
this
that's
game.
what you're getting at. Okay.
So
right.
our
Team's back.
Our team's back essentially.
Oh,
So Bogo scores late in the third period to tie the game. Goes into a shootout. Michael Hutchinson, his first career shootout, he went 4 for 4.
That's a lie. That's not right at all. He
right.
had a shootout last year against Boston. That was his first career win. Was against Boston in a
Was
shootout.
it a shootout? Well, they said it was
damn.
his first shootout.
those liars.
They lied.
Oh, what?
Anyway.
First shootout of the season, maybe?
He went 4 for 4, stopped all 4 shooters. Little was the only Jet to score, so he got the game winner. And I don't know if you guys saw this, but there's a GIF on the internet of Pavlik when they're all going to celebrate with Hutch after he makes the save. And Pavlik's sitting on the bench, and he does not look happy.
Well, it's because probably he's
Um,
playing better.
But yeah, this was a good game. This felt...
It's
The last 10 minutes in overtime felt like a playoff game when I
it
was
was
watching this.
entertaining to watch, but here's the alarming thing.
They blew a 3-goal lead.
They were up 3-0.
Again, they've
in
done
the
this a
first
few times
period.
now.
And leading into the Anaheim game, just lead into it.
Well,
Wait,
okay.
I'm doing
Well,
it.
do you have something to say?
Well, I was gonna say,
We'll get to
SB Nations fear the Finn. So, like, for the Sharks, tweeted at Arctic Ice Hockey, which is SB Nations for the Jets. They tweeted at him saying, "Don't sweat it. Blowing a 3-0 lead to the Kings happens to the best of us." And also in this game, Jay Harrison, Tanner Pearson was running, trying to crash the net. Jay Harrison and him kind of ran into each other. Tanner Pearson suffered a broken bone and left lower leg. He's out indefinitely, which
He's out
sucks
for 3
because
months, I think they said.
Tyler Toffoli is also out indefinitely with mono. So the Kings
Yikes.
are
Thinning out.
thinning out. Yeah.
So they did...
Losing their crown.
They did blow the
Yeah.
lead, but in the end, they got the points. And
Getting
at-
dethroned?
At the end of the day, that's what matters.
okay,
so-
and then
Sunday night,
The big game.
The big game, which I thought was going to be the most entertaining thing to talk about this week, but then last night happened. We'll get to that. So yeah, the big Teemu Selanne retirement game. We'll get to the ceremony. Just as for the game, Jets again, 3-1 lead in the first period. Goals by Kane, Bogosian, and Scheifele. Eventually, they would lead 4-2 going into the third period with a goal by Ladd. And then the floodgates kind of opened up, I guess. Anaheim scored 2 goals in the third, tied the game with 2:03 left. Ricard Raquel, 4 points.
that guy's real.
Take
cool.
that for
I
what
like
it's
him.
worth. But
I
yeah,
like his name.
he scored the tying goal with 2:03 left. Jets would go on to lose 5-4 in the shootout. Wheeler and Kane did score in the shootout, but all for naught. Sami Vatanen got the game winner. Fitting because he is Finnish, and he's got the game-winning shootout goal on Teemu Selanne night. Yeah, but this game will probably be remembered more for the celebration than for the game itself. Obviously, before the game, Teemu Selanne retirement ceremony
93
was
minutes.
an hour
long.
and a half. That's
Yeah, 93 minute ceremony. What are we, Montreal? I can't wait till Carey Price retires. It's
Oh,
going to be
God.
4 days.
Yeah.
It's going to be ridiculous.
Seems a little
Did
extreme.
you guys see
but,
that tribute video, though?
Yeah.
That they did that, 8-minute, 9-minute long one?
yeah.
The only glaring thing that I didn't like is they never had JSG Gertok. It was only Scott Niedermayer. They had Randy Carlisle.
Why did they have Korea? Korea didn't even show up to the ceremony.
I know.
Yeah, that was kind of weird.
I
Garbage.
did find it kind of cheesy when he showed up in the arena and walked through the backstage and was high-fiving everyone. That seemed kind of played up Hollywoodish to me, but
Well, you got
whatever. Anyway, so a quote from Teemu, he said, obviously there were several thousand Winnipeg Jet fans there. Quote from Teemu, he said, 2 things come from Winnipeg, hockey and great people. The way the fans treated me, there are no words. He also left an open chair for his Don Baisley, his agent who passed away last year. I don't know if you guys know, but
Yeah, 'cause he called him
they
his
held
North
his
American
funeral at the MTS Center last year, and Teemu actually came in for it. So
Yeah, I heard
they were
about
pretty
that.
close. So that was pretty classy. And perhaps the best part of the night, for warm-up, the Anaheim Ducks wore every incarnation of a Teemu Selanne jersey for the Anaheim
Yeah,
Ducks.
there's 8 different ones.
But the
Wait,
Jets-
including Wild Wing.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
But the Jets came out wearing 95, old school Jet jerseys,
95,
all with
93.
13,
That's when they-
13 on the back. So
that
was
I
awesome.
I don't want to start speculation that those are going to be the jerseys they wear for winter class or for the Heritage.
But
and that
if
those
we
are
are,
their third.
it had the up-to-date CCM logo on it. CCM's owned by Reebok. Reebok, jersey distributor of the NHL. Jets are getting third jerseys,
But
93 alternates.
Just for them,
Counted it.
just for them to have come to the point from when they allegedly didn't even want the team to be called the Jets. Now, like nobody in their right mind ever thought they would have worn anything with that logo on it. So
Yeah.
I'm not saying that they will, but if they do, I ain't complaining.
Those jerseys-
Business I don't.
People would
But
buy
here it
them.
is. Here it
I
is. though.
know, but come on.
You got to make a new. It's almost you got to start your own Heritage like this. But I'm for one felt those jerseys were so sharp. Like, they looked
good.
so good.
They still look good.
Yeah,
Not to
they,
brag.
They did look
not
in the
not
place.
gonna lie, but if you take all the teams that have kind of brought retro jerseys back, like Pittsburgh or Anaheim, for instance, bringing back those purple ones that are just take it for what it's worth. I think they're nice.
They're
Then you
really
have,
old school ones.
Yeah,
I
like-
like those.
and then Pittsburgh with the black and yellow, which isn't as nice.
Okay,
Blackhawks going back to their Winter Classics. I think Winnipeg going to that isn't a sign of them giving up, but it's a sign of kind of remembering how good that jersey
And
was.
accepting what it was.
Yeah,
Can I-
accepting
can
the
I-
old Jets.
I have a suggestion for you because there was some rumbling last week. Some people were saying, "Oh, well, the Jets should retire 13," but it's not the same franchise. So one suggestion actually made on the radio, Gary Lawless said, not the jersey retirement because it just doesn't fit, but they should have a statue or something of
The-
Timu in the MTS Center
Well,
somewhere.
we talked
doing,
about it.
doing the glove celebration
Got-
for his.
Well, yeah, we talked about it
We
in the
talked
summer.
about it
Cool.
on this podcast because
Yep.
I brought up the Legends Row thing in Toronto, and I said, "What would we do here?" And the response from both you guys was either
Timu shooting.
Timu shooting the glove. You could probably fit a Dale Howardchuk thing in there, maybe a Phil Housley,
Bobby Hull.
Hull for sure, in our Legends Row or our past Jets or whatever you want to call it.
Yep. Absolutely.
Definitely, it's. I think that heritage of what he did for this city was just insane, and what they were saying was that last year, I guess, was his last game technically in the MTS Center. Doesn't mean he still won't come back because he most likely will come back for something to get on it somehow. I can only assume.
Yeah.
He's also done something that will never be done again. I'm not saying 76 goals in your rookie season. I mean 76 goals in a season.
Oh, I
You
was
just
just going to
won't see
say
that.
76 goals in his rookie season. The closest since we've been alive, since Timu's done that, was Mario Lemieux in 95-96 at 69 goals. And after that, the next person lines 07-08 Ovechkin was 65. And Timu had 147 goals in 231 games played for the Jets.
I cannot see it. I cannot see it ever.
It's just
It'll never be like Greg said. I don't think
Bettman said it too.
it's not going to be broken by anyone, let alone a rookie.
Well,
You know,
it's-
nowadays if a rookie scores 15 or 20 goals, that's like, whew,
Yeah.
that's good. But 76, like,
I still tear up every time that I see that like clip of him lifting that cup over his head,
Mhm.
and just I don't know. We all grew up in the same era. We're the same age. You knew that the Ducks were always decent because they had Korea, Solani, and then they got really good when they got Getzlav and Perry. So they've always had a 1-2 punch. You know what? He went out in a very classy way, just the way he came into the league, just absolute class.
and this would be like the ultimate probably fantasy of anyone who's a Jets fan, and it's very way out there. But if he ever came back here as a coach or something with the Jets and they won a cup and you saw him lift one here, that would be the only thing that could eclipse everything that
I could see
he's
being
done.
a coach, or not a coach. Like
I'm
a
just saying,
scout,
picture
maybe?
just picture that happening.
Yeah.
I'm not saying think about like how logical it is it going to happen. Just think about what if it did happen.
That'd be
It
Think
would
about
be
a cup
probably-
game raised in Winnipeg. Period.
Well, anyways,
I don't think I've seen it in real life.
I saw
That I
Calder Cup,
remember.
No, I've never seen.
Calder
I've
Cup
seen
I
it on
saw.
TV.
Yeah, I saw
Calder
Calder
Cup.
and one of the players on that Calder Cup team leading into last night's game, Matthew Perreault. So last night Jets play Florida. Yeah, we all thought the Anaheim game was going to be the most entertaining thing to talk about. No, this was fun. This was quite the ass kicking, I'd say. What's Greg looking at?
Yeah, so-
No,
Oh.
don't worry. Continue.
No, sorry.
Don't worry.
We'll lead into it. After.
We'll get it later.
Anyway, so Jets end up beating Florida 8-2. 8. I don't know if you guys have noticed this, but I feel like once a year, Florida comes here and we just kick the crap out of them.
Well,
Like,
you guys remember year one? That was the flying W.
the Flying W game.
Yeah, that's what I thought of.
I went to a game last year. We beat them 6-1, and now this game. Anyway, so
And it's not even that they're that bad of a team. They're just
Nikki
just-
D.
we
they're a
bought
good
out.
team. They're a good
Bingo.
team this year. They're a good team. Anyway, so yeah, the big night. Matthew Pro, 4 goals.
Hashtag do it for Gale.
Yeah, he scored 4 goals. Almost scored a 5th goal. He had a breakaway in the 3rd period.
And what would have happened if he would have scored 5?
That did not miss by much, but if he had scored the 5th goal, Gail McDonald would have received $1 million.
A part of a promotion for Safeway up here in Canada.
And after the game, they interviewed Matthew Pro about it. He had no idea. He apologized to our national TV, but that's hilarious, funny. He actually legitimately felt bad.
Yeah,
But
she's
nonetheless, yeah. So Pro, actually, the hat-trick goal was actually, being there in person was entertaining because it was a point shot, and it was Pro and I think Ekblad in front of the net. And you knew it went off one of them, but no one was sure. 2 people threw their hats because they didn't announce anything. They dropped the puck. They played for about 2 minutes. Then they had a whistle. They announced the goal. All the hats came. It was awesome. It was funny.
Little side note,
Um,
Dan's been at both games where there were hat tricks.
and he has not thrown his hat.
Wow!
The net.
Wow!
Boom! I don't give a shit.
Whoa!
We'll throw it for you.
Why would I waste a hat?
Throw
Oh,
it!
waste a hat. Oh, look at this guy. Look at fucking-
Why would I throw my hat down
I'm
to the
revoking
100?
your season tickets. You're not a
He
true
doesn't have
Winnipegger.
any.
You're not a true fan.
Does he?
You're not a
Why,
true fan.
why would I? There's no way I'm getting over the net from the upper deck.
You
Doesn't
throw it
matter. You
at
throw
someone
it down
on the
and then
side,
people
they'll catch
try it.
Why
Have
would
you-
they keep it? You could see the person keeping it.
We're
So you could-
Winnipeggers. We're cheap.
Then you can go buy another hat for 25%
Well, let's
off.
move on from
Regardless-
this.
regardless,
Unbelievable.
Matthew Pro becomes the 3rd player in franchise history to score 4 goals in a game.
Who did the other ones?
Last game was Ilya Kovalchuk, November 11th, 2005. Only other player, Pascal Rayoma, 2002. Who?
January 19th.
Who? Yeah, exactly.
January 19th. Yeah, I got that. Oh, has he ever
I'm not
scored
done.
4 before in a game?
Yes, yes.
Yes, but in the AHL.
Yeah, he did it for Hershey, February 27th, 2000.
The defense
They
had a
won
big
92.
game. Buff 2 goals, Enstrom 2 assists, Harrison 2 goals, 1 on our own net, 1 on the other net.
Someone's clock is beeping.
Evander Kane
I
scored his
hear you.
8th goal. Kane has goals in back-to-back games now, so maybe he's going to finally start getting it going. Jets set a record with 8 goals at home. That's the
Someone's
most.
phone is beeping.
It's an alarm. Just
Where?
turn your ADD off for
Well,
Christ's
no,
sake.
because they're going to hear it on the
It's
podcast.
going to go off for like 30 more seconds. And it'll be
Why do we shut it off?
Because I don't know where it is.
What?
It's like a
Let's
stop.
find it.
It's like a little stopwatch.
Sounds awful.
It'll stop. Just
No,
ignore
this
it.
sucks.
Ignore
Where
it.
is it?
Okay.
It's over there. I
Oh.
hear it over there.
OCD cam over
Well,
here.
no, everyone. Why would you want to hear beeping on a podcast? It's
Whatever.
annoying.
It's
Who
going to be
cares?
for 30 seconds. Listen to me talk.
No one wants to hear you
It's
talk.
already been going for 30 seconds.
Jets set a record with 8 goals at home. That's the most they've scored in a game since relocation.
Anything more?
14 players in this game on the Jets recorded at least 1 point. 6 had 2 points. Buff, Perot, Enstrom, Slater, Frolik, Scheifele. Bogo was +5 in this game. That's pretty good. The Frolik, Scheifele, Perot line, each of them were +4. The big story, though, Paul Maurice, 500th career win in the NHL. He is the 2nd youngest coach to do so, 47 years, 11 months. The youngest coach, Scotty Bowman, 45 years, 3 months. So that's pretty impressive to be in. And following this game, the Jets' goal differential is now +10. That's the highest it's been since we've had the team back. And it's higher than every Pacific Division team and 4th in the Central.
Okay, so I just want to make a few quick notes about Paul Maurice before we move. Actually, one quick note. Last player to score 5 goals in a single game. Who was it?
Sagan, last year.
No, we did not have 5.
All
I
right.
had 5.
Franzen, 2011 for the Detroit Red Wings.
Not Giroux.
Not
in the
Giroux.
playoffs against Pens.
I don't think that counts. Regular season.
He
We're
had
talking,
five
Oh.
we're talking regular season.
Regular season.
Gail
Okay.
McDonald was a principal.
So,
I wanted to
yes.
say that.
Yeah, just fit that in. Dan kind of hogs the airtime.
No, he didn't let me slide
Because I
in.
have a spiel to read. And
Yeah,
then-
but
Why
you're
would I
hogging
let
it.
People slide
Hog.
in. Because now it doesn't make sense why he said it.
That's fine.
Very
Okay,
cool.
so Maurice, for those who don't know, has now been with the Jets for a full year as of January 12th. In that time, the Jets have played 79 games. He has a record of 40, 26, and 13, with a points percentage of 58.6 and a win percentage of 50. Just above 50.
And also, his 500th win came on the 1-year anniversary of his first game.
You still have
Yeah,
more?
go.
So in the Noel era for the Jets, 177 games played, 80, 79, and 18. point percentage of 50.2%, and a win percentage of 45%. So in everything, they are doing better.
They're doing better.
And that's my little Maurice spiel.
Just one thing to add about Maurice, the NHL.com today did their front runners for Jack Adams Trophy, and they had Peter Laviolette as the winner right now with the runners up, Bruce Boudreau and Paul Maurice. So nice to see the Jets at least getting some recognition from American media, which we don't usually get.
Okay.
Anything else to say about this game?
Yeah, lots.
Because I have some stuff to say about Matthew Perreault if we want to.
I got Perreault too. I was just going to lead into Perreault.
Okay.
So you go.
All I'm going to say about Perreault, he's got 15 goals, 13 assists this year. That's 28 points. His career high for goals is 18, so he's going to eclipse that by quite a bit, it looks like. He has a 55.1 Corsi percent rating right now, which is the second best on the team, but only behind Blake Wheeler. He's currently the fourth highest scoring free agent signing of the offseason.
I read a really funny tweet yesterday about
with 28 points. The only guys ahead of him, Mike Ribeiro, was 38. Joe McGinley, Radim Verbata both have 29, and then Perreault with 28. So is he one of the best free agent signings of the offseason?
See, a guy, Down Goes Brown on Twitter, he posted, I can find the tweet. I'll let Cam do it, but he tweets something around this, kind of like this. It's builds time machine, goes back to summer, stops self from writing. Winnipeg hasn't picked up anyone decent this season to improve team. And stops this article. Because a lot of people were harping on the fact that Pro's just a younger Jokinen, and it's true that, or it's pretty clear now that he's eclipsing to be more than that, as he's been extremely versatile from playing anywhere on this team, whether it's been third line minutes playing with Lowry and Bufflin, or it's been playing with Scheifele and Frolik. So clearly he's been versatile in the fact that he's been able to play with everyone, and versatile with the fact that it seems you could put him in every situation, whether it's playing point on power play, playing just that setup guy on the power play, or even playing penalty kill. He can do that too.
Also, 26 points in his last 25 games, 15 goals, 11 assists.
Go ahead, Cam.
For Perreault?
Yeah.
Okay, I was just going to say about Perreault how this was the second time he scored his fourth goal. First time, or 4 goals in a game. First time it happened, we said earlier, February 27, 2010. It also happened in the first 2 periods.
Oh, wow.
Kind of weird. And this year, regarding Matthew Perreault, his shooting average is actually down from his career average. His career average is 16.9%, down from, that's his average. This year, it's 15.8. Regarding shooting percentages, Brian Little is shooting at 20%. He's based off of players who've played 30-plus games. He ranks 5th, and he's the number one center He's the number one center in the NHL at shooting percentage.
I think the Perreault, you can attribute that. I think he's getting a lot more
chances
and playing time than he's ever gotten. So, but yeah, 26 points in 25 games, 15 goals in 25 games. That's pretty good numbers for a quote unquote third liner, as they said at the beginning of the year.
Quick little note about that.
Like a top 6 to me.
Little quick note. Most goals in AHL in past month. Perreault is leading the league with 11. Gabrick has 9. Backes is 8. Tyler Johnson has 8. Nash is 8. Ovechkin is 8. Stamkos is 8. And Colin Wilson has 8.
Interesting.
So Perreault has a whole 2 ahead of everyone else.
So would you guys agree he's been their best player the last month? Aside from Buffalo.
In the last month? Yeah, I guess so.
Best forward? Yes. 100%.
Would you say this is the best 1-2 punch for lines that the Jets have ever had?
See, this is something that I was thinking, and I had a discussion with one of my friends yesterday, was that at the beginning of the year, we were talking about how our first line was going to be Scheifele, Wheeler, and Kane, right? We can't debate that that's kind of what we thought the first line was going to look like. And now here we are 3 months into the season. Not even. Yeah, 3 months. And pretty much for the last month, they've been going with Little Lad Wheeler. It seems every year they seem to steer away from that at the start, and they just veer back to it because it's the line that's worked all the time.
They always produce. That's the thing.
Yeah.
So,
and proof is when your top 3 scorers are on that line. And I haven't really been super impressed by Scheifele this year.
You know what?
Yet.
But that line with Scheifele, Frolik, Perreault has been really good.
They've been good, and they're good in our own zone, which I can't really complain, especially when you have a second-year center. He's been very good in our own zone. Frolik's a great player in our own zone, so I'm not too upset about it. And seriously, since Kane's been back, he's actually played quite well, scoring twice. Here's something about Kane, though, is you could argue that the goals he scores aren't very important goals or very big goals, as he adds the 8th goal last night. Adds a third. He scored the 3rd goal, I believe, in the Anaheim game.
The first goal in the Anaheim game.
So, he needs, for him to get, I think, more respect around the league and from other people, is he needs to be able to produce in the 3rd period late when they're down a goal and they can rely on him, and then that might push his status up, because right now he's actually playing pretty well, and it seems that he wants to be there because, one, the team's winning, which is way more fun. Two, they seem to be a very close-knit group now. They all have trust in Maurice. They all have trust in each other. And if you guys saw after last night's win, they did kind of what the Bear League teams do, is they go in their own handshake. They just all shake their own hands last night after the game. Yeah. They just went down the line and shook hands to each other at the end of the game.
They are a very close group. One thing I will say, noticing since Kane's come back, he looks happy. Like he looks like he's trying to play as a teammate, not as by himself. Mm-hmm. He tweeted a picture the other day.
Did he?
Back in the Peg, it's definitely sunnier here than it is in California. Normally, he's more likely to say something controversial than something nice about. It looks like he's enjoying himself. So if they can keep him happy, I think it also is good for everyone.
I think it also has to be pointed out the fact that we're playing. Once again, it's been proven we're in the toughest division in hockey. When you're better than the 2nd place team in the Pacific, when you're 5th in your conference, yet you're 4th and still in a wild card.
I find that baffling, though, the goal differential, that we have a better goal differential than Anaheim. Anaheim's not a good defensive team.
Is it really that bad? Like, when you look at it, you look at all their defensemen, they don't have the Bogos, the Stewarts,
the best team in
Harrisons.
the conference, second best team in the conference, and their goal differential is only +3.
But do they score a ton of goals? That's the question. Like, if you look at,
I don't know.
If you go back to the start of the year, like when we were losing games at the start of the year, it was based on the fact that we couldn't score goals. Now that we're starting to get better. But you also have to think, if you take that Florida game out of it, and we're only a +4. Like, that gave us +6 in goal differential.
Yes, but they also, there's been I think 3 5-1 games lately. There's been they're definitely starting to put the puck in the net, which they needed to do.
Do you have anything else on the Jets? Though?
I do. I have an article that Cam probably does not want me to read.
What's that?
The Buff Norris article.
I have some.
Okay,
it was written by Jared Clinton of the Hockey News. It was just it essentially not saying he should win the Norris. It's just making a case for why he could.
Okay.
It says essentially the article was, could Buff win the Norris in a half season on defense? He says it's not as outrageous as it sounds. Obviously, the fact that he is only going to probably play, I guess, probably more close to 3/4, that will hurt him. But essentially, his points were he's held the team together when they lost their top 4 defensemen all at once. Never dropped out of a playoff spot. He went from being a forward to an all-star defenseman in a month. That's pretty impressive to do. Just some stats I'm going to throw at you guys. He averages 27 minutes a game. 14 points in 17 games on defense. This was before last night, which equates to 19 goals, 67 points in a full season. Duncan Keith last year won the Norris. He had 61. So,
but it's not always based off points.
Yeah, you can't.
I
it
know.
seems though the last
It's
couple
just-
years it has been, but yes,
it's just
I
saying
agree that I
he
don't
can
think
produce at a high level. That's
I
basically
don't
what
think
they're saying.
I think the Norris is going towards who's the most offensive. It needs to be more based on who's the best defensive team, or the best defensive player. But that's my counterpoint to this. But continue.
So I just have a couple more stats. The bigger underlying thing about that, though, is the team's numbers have drastically improved since he's moved back to defense. Their Corsi rating is 53.1%, 5-on-5. That's the 7th best in the league since he's moved back. That's up from 12th where they were before. The thing that's more impressive is they've actually started more shifts in the defensive zone since he's moved back. So he's had to get the puck up ice more.
Okay.
So that just says that's impressive. That
the first pass is better.
First pass is better. 5-on-5 shooting percentage for the team. Before he got moved back to defense, it was the worst in the league, 5.8%. Since then, it's 9.5%, and they have the 9th best PDO in the league, which is shooting percentage combined with save percentage. Yep. They have the 9th best in the league at 101.5. And since Buff has moved back, they have the 4th best scoring chance for percentage. So the percentage of the scoring chances per game, it's up from 50.8% to 56.6% of the chances per game. That's 4th in the league since Buff's moved back. So they're just saying him moving back to defense has not only has he done well, but the whole team, the underlying stats, the whole team has drastically improved. So that was the case. They did say that only playing half to 3/4 a year could hurt his case, but, just some impressive, interesting stats, I guess, to show that him moving back has affected the whole team, not just it's not just Bufflin doing well.
I think you also have to note in that time, though, from the time that he started playing defense to basically now, is Hutchinson's getting 75% of the starts. The team plays better when Hutchinson's in net, and he's the better goalie of the two. And his save percentage numbers and his numbers in general are showing. But there is a lot to say, like, Hutchinson doesn't affect anything like Corsi or anything like that, but that could contribute to the PDO numbers.
Yeah.
Obviously, our shooting percentage has increased with Bufflin there. I don't consider Bufflin. I consider him an all-star defenseman, which he is. I don't put him in that conversation with Norris because Norris has something different as a meaning towards me than just being a great defensive player or a great offensive defensive player. He still needs to be strong in his defensive zone, and
I don't think I've ever seen Bufflin the 1D on a 2-on-1 in my life.
Yeah.
My whole life.
He is playing more responsibly defensively now. I will say that. Just one more thing to throw, just to add to your thing. They actually did say in this article that the Jets' goaltending stats dropped when he went back. So the goaltending is not as good as it was before, so that, the fact that their PDO is that high, just
could be interesting.
My opinion, if you're going to make a case for a trophy, this sounds more like Hart Trophy, because Hart Trophy is who's the most valuable player to their team. I'm not saying he's going to win it, but if you're making a case, this sounds more like he's been their MVP as opposed to he's been the best defenseman in the league. That's my take on it.
Player-wise,
yeah.
For Winnipeg, you could make that case.
That's my
league-wide, there's no way.
No, I'm saying that's what the trophy is.
Every year he's played D's, been selected to play in the All-Star game.
Okay.
In 2010 he played. 2011 he got injured, replaced by Letang. 2013 the lockout. 2014 Olympics, and he played back to D this year, and he got selected again.
Yeah, I just wanted to throw one thing out. Just when Greg said the goaltending, Michael Hutchinson actually now has 12 wins on the season. Andre Pavlik only has 10.
Yep.
Oh, that's not bad.
Okay, continue.
Oh, I was just going to say about the Jets. The Jets have played 44 games and spent the equivalent of 10 full games in the box. They're number 1 in PIMS in the league. Hold on, I'll just wrap this up really quick. The current top 5 is Winnipeg. They said they're ranked 13th in the league, but they have 612 PIMs. They're number 1. Number 2 is Penguins. They're 4th in the league, like standing-wise, but they have 601 PIMs. And then 3rd's Buffalo, 29th, and they have 548 PIMs. 4th is Anaheim. They're 512. They're 2nd. 5th is Ottawa at 508. They're 22nd. And just last year's top 5, just to see if it correlates at all the playoffs whatsoever. And it's pretty close. Philly was number 1. They had 1,180, and they got knocked out in the first round, but they made playoffs. 2nd was St. Louis. They had 1,162. They finished first in the league, 2nd in the league total, but they got bumped in the first round. Vancouver, 1,115. They didn't even make playoffs. Ottawa, 1,094. They didn't make playoffs. And then Montreal, 1,063, Eastern Conference Final. And I just went back based on playoffs. The last 5 cup winners. Do you want?
Yeah, go ahead.
I was just going to say. All right, I'll just say where they finished. They ranked. LA was ranked 16th. Chicago was ranked 29th. Then LA again was ranked 13th. Boston was ranked 7th. Chicago ranked 25th. So basically, PIMS don't really mean much in terms of playoffs, like a little bit. But if you are going to do PIMS, be on one spectrum or the other, it seems.
It has cost them games, though. Like that.
No, I'm saying
the one game off the top of my head is the Islander game. Like, they played well, but the penalties cost them the game, and that's they definitely need to clean that up.
Yeah, are we going to move on from Jets?
Yeah.
I was just going to say about a weird stat that came up on my Twitter timeline. Nikolai Ehlers is currently on, he's played 13 consecutive games with at least 1 assist. 2nd streak in team history. Who owns the record at 14?
For
Drouin?
For Halifax
I don't
Mooseheads.
know.
Drouin.
Well, if it correlates to anything and wants to get the boats or the cauldron stirring a little more for Jets fans, it's current league leader in points, Jacob Voracek.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
Jake the Snake. All right, where are we going?
All-Star game.
Beautiful.
So the All-Star game is being hosted in Columbus this year.
Mm-hmm.
Let me read you this year's roster from start to finish.
Okay.
So we
Wait,
start.
oh yeah, go. Sorry.
Obviously, we know The starting lineups were voted on. So the guys who got in via voting were Zemgus Girgensons, through the power of
You're
Latvia.
saying it wrong. Zemgus Girgensons.
Oh my god. Okay.
I just have to say, I do have a problem with that because there's no hope in hell he's an all-star.
Why?
He's not an all-star.
We can
Zemgus
debate this
Girgensons.
after,
Okay.
because there's a lot of guys on this list that aren't all stars. I have a little theory about this.
Go.
Then obviously Taves. I believe it was Kane, Keith, Seabrook, and Crawford.
Yep.
Rounds out the top 6, which
Slightly
is just
biased voting, but that's...
okay.
Well, it's
So then
fan
you have
voting, though.
Ryan Getzlaf of the Ducks, Patrice Bergeron of the Bruins, Foligno, Johansson, both from the Blue Jackets, Sagan from the Stars, Nugent Hopkins from the Oilers, Kopitar from the Kings, Patrick Elias from the Devils. Shocking that it wasn't Jaromir Jagr.
He actually said he doesn't even like. Ah, damn.
Elias
Go,
doesn't
sorry,
think he
sorry. I
deserves
don't
to be
want
an
to.
all-star.
Okay, John Tavares, Islanders, Rick Nash, Rangers, Bobby Ryan, Senators, Giroux, Voracek, Flyers, Crosby, Malkin, Penguins, Tarasenko, Blues, Stamkos, and Tyler Johnson, Lightning, Phil Kessel, Leafs, Radim Verbata, Canucks, Alex Ovechkin, Capitals, Oliver Ekman Larson, Coyotes, Mark Giordano, Flames, Justin Falk, Carolina Hurricanes, Eric Johnson, Colorado Avalanche, Drew Doughty at Los Angeles Kings, Ryan Suter, Wild, Shea Weber, Nashville Predators, Brent Burns, San Jose Sharks, Kevin Shattenkirk, St. Louis Blues, Dustin Byfuglien, Winnipeg Jets, Sergei Bobrovsky, Columbus Blue Jackets, Jimmy Howard, Detroit Red Wings, Roberto Luongo, Florida Panthers, Carey Price, Montreal Canadiens, and then Pecorino, Nashville Predators, and it's missing a...
Just to throw in there, Jimmy Howard won't be at the All-Star game.
Yes.
He's out 2 to 4 weeks.
But who's the other goaltender? Oh, Corey Crawford. They just don't have... Yeah, they just don't have the fan voting in here.
So Howard won't be there, so someone...
So someone most likely Marc-Andre Fleury.
Yeah.
Most likely Andre Fleury.
That'd be my guess.
Here's my problem with the All-Star game. You have guys like Patrick Elias who are there.
Who he doesn't think he deserves to be there. So
Yeah.
no one on the Devils deserves to be there.
Yager.
Yager could,
You have
yes.
to have one guy from every team.
No,
Yeah.
you don't. Why do you have to?
Wow.
For what reason?
To keep people interested. I understand where you're coming from.
But why? Why? Okay. We're
I
not in
understand
elementary
where-
school anymore. You
Yeah.
don't need to be fair and play nice with everyone.
That's true.
You gotta tell them the cold hard truth sometimes, so you just don't have a fucking all-star
Well,
on your
of
team.
course they do, because 3 Blue Jackets made it, and probably one of them would have made it if the game was anywhere else.
It would have been Bobrovsky.
Yes.
If it's...
The
Okay,
other two
I
aren't
understand
all-stars.
if you're in the city, that's why Johansson and Foligno are there.
Yes.
Does Foligno make it otherwise? Maybe you can make a case for it. Same with Johansson, you can make a case for them being there. But if you... Well, I'm not even going to mention the fact that they left out Erik Karlsson and PK Subban.
Henrik Lundqvist.
And there you go, another player.
Well, he could be a replacement, too.
He could be a replacement.
Corey
as well,
Perry.
But Corey Perry, another guy that didn't get...
All-
And you're letting guys
the
like...
entire Colorado Avalanche forward
No,
tour.
see, here's the thing, though. Is
They're
if you
Who
look
got sent
They're good
from
players.
Colorado?
Eric Johnson.
Eric Johnson.
Who's not an all-star
But here's
either.
the thing, yeah, you have guys like Justin Falk, Eric Johnson. If you want people to actually care about your game and to care about the sport, put the best in there. Don't just be like, okay, we're going to make a pity party. We're going to make this like elementary school, guys, where everybody gets a fair chance to represent their team instead of telling them the cold hard truth that, you know what, sometimes you're just not bloody good enough to have a representative there. You're just sometimes not good enough.
And it's an all-star game. It's supposed to be entertaining.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't you want to bring Nathan McKinnon or Matt Duchene? Have you seen those guys in the shootout?
And then
imagine
here's-
if they didn't have like a time and they weren't allowed, like they didn't have to follow the rules.
Oh,
what they would do.
Think about this as well. Think about this. If first year that the Jets were here, do you think Dustin Byfuglien deserved to be technically an all-star? Probably not. He went just simply because we needed an all-star.
He didn't
there
play.
was no, I know, but
didn't even
that
have
was
a
the
guy
only
in the
reason.
All-Star game
That was the
that
only reason why he was elected. Was because of
We
that.
had no one else at that point.
Yeah.
No, exactly. Yeah.
But
Now-
what I'm trying to say is that for some reason the NHL wants to make sure it's fair play for everyone. Everyone has a representative. What's the bloody point? It's an all-star game. It's about showing the best talent that you have to offer. If someone's watching the All-Star game and that's the only hockey they watch all year, and then they go and they're like, oh, this Justin Falk or this Eric Johnson guy, they're All-Stars, they must be pretty good. Then they watch them play and they're like, wow, these guys are not All-Stars at all.
The part that I have a problem with, I understand playing to hometown fans, but Nick Foligno as a captain, are you fucking kidding me?
Who else are you going to pick?
A career
else?
third-line hockey player. He's having a great year, yeah. But
Second
are you
line.
a captain?
Okay, but what's wrong?
If this game was anywhere else, he probably wouldn't even be in the game.
This game doesn't mean anything, though, so what does it matter?
But they're saying you want them, like the NHL wants the teams and the players to take it seriously. Like, you name him a captain?
But here's why. He's the hometown guy. Last time it was Eric Stahl. And Eric Stahl's not even here this time.
I get that, but it just, to me, I don't agree with it.
Okay, then what you want? Okay, and here's the other argument. Okay, so do you want Sergei Bobrovsky, who can barely speak the language, to be your captain, or would you rather have it be Ryan Johansson be the captain and him at 19 years of age picking the team? Well, that's why they picked Nick Foligno. He at least has been in the league for some time, and whatever. It's not even about who the team is. He's still going to have assistants. That was the whole point of it, right?
Well, I know. I understand. I'm saying it's.
And then the other stupid thing is the whole fact that the fucking Blackhawks have 5 players in the. See, I can.
It was voting, though.
I know.
and
that's the crazy thing, though, is they do have 5 fucking All-Stars on their team. They do.
Who's the... Okay, wait. There's Kane.
Seabrook.
Kane.
Still representing Canada.
Kane.
No, I know.
Kane, Taves, Keith, Seabrook, Crawford.
Yeah.
Considering every other team...
I would argue a solid 4 of them would still be there.
Yeah.
The only 2 I'd argue between would be Seabrook and Crawford.
You could probably go through most teams and find 2 or 3 All-Stars on each team.
Except Phoenix. I like Ekman Larson. That's a good pick.
Yeah, that's a good pick. So it's fine that some guys are going to get cut out, but 5 for one team, that's a little,
But if you have
fan voted, they
fan
opened
voted.
it. They couldn't really...
Like, we could have stuffed the box for Thorburn, theoretically. And if he got votes, he'd be there. Like,
Yeah.
I do not agree with that.
No, that's where...
It should have to be voted on by someone, like approved, I guess.
And it's the same thing with Buffalo. Like, do they really have an All-Star there? No, not really. Does Carolina? No, probably not. Does Colorado? I guess you can make a case. Like, Eric Johnson's having his best year, statistically, as a defenseman. He's having his best year. But is he an All-Star? Very debatable. His team isn't playing the best. And if you want to see... Like, the All-Star game should be up-playing players' talents, which both Duchesne and McKinnon have. They have enormous amount of talent. Even Landeskog has a ton of talent. And that's what you should be up-playing in this game, instead of being like, no, we're just going to be the pity and bring guys like Justin Falk and Eric Johnson, who probably do have some talent, but aren't the best.
Does the All-Star game go off of, like, a player's reputation, or does it go off of how their season's going?
How their season's going.
Okay.
Because that's why Subban and Carlson aren't there.
Because I was going to say, Subban's not having a great year. Like, he's not bad, but he's not having a great year.
Is he $9 million? He's not playing like a $9 million player.
Carlson not having a great year, but I agree with you.
You were talking about, like, it should have played to the players' town, and it just clicked in my head. One thing that would make it fun, because it's basically the same thing, it's like, because it always plays indoor or whatever, one thing that we briefly talked about, it should be outdoors, maybe, for fun, because...
Why not?
Okay, the one league that I really like their All-Star game, the game, because it means, like,
Baseball.
this game doesn't mean anything. Baseball, the winner gets home field advantage.
Yeah, and that's the same way it should be.
Final. Like, okay, here's the dangerous thing with hockey, though, then. You could... what if a guy gets hurt? That's where... For sure.
Very true.
They don't do East-West anymore.
Yeah.
They like switching it up.
People are going to complain about it both ways, because what if a team like... who's the last upset to go to the final? I don't know, Carolina in 02?
Well, technically, I guess
what if
LA
a team like that
eighth?
goes to the finals, like an 8th seed, plays the 1 seed, but their conference won the All-Star game? Like, it's... I can see the big problem. I agree.
Why is that an issue?
entertaining.
Because it's the same... It's level playing field
It
for
would
everyone.
make
You
it
know
more-
it going into it. You know it going into it.
It would make it, at least there's some, because the
Well,
All-Star...
thinking being that eighth
the
team-
All-Star game is boring. It's
Imagine,
so boring.
imagine being
The
that
skills
eighth...
competition has gotten worse and worse every year. Like, it's,
Yeah, they need to...
I'm not trying to sound negative.
They need to find something to freshen
They're
it up.
bringing in technology to, like, there's going to be, like, chips in the boots and, like, on the players' jerseys and whatnot to tell you, like, how fast they're going and, like, how long's their shit. Basically, like, soccer technology, how it's in their shoes.
I feel we are getting robbed of somewhat of... I'm sure there's guys who are characters, but if you think of Jonathan Taves, he's not a big character guy. He's Captain Serious.
He's good, but
He's captain. He's fucking Captain Serious. That's what he is.
Deserves to be there.
And I'm not saying he doesn't, but wouldn't you rather have a guy like Subban who would go probably wear a GoPro on his head, have a microphone, and just go skating around, asking guys questions, bugging them, doing that. And even Ovechkin does that. Like, Ovechkin's got a good personality.
Ovechkin when he was in Ottawa?
Yeah.
With the skills comp, where he got... He put on, like, the sunglasses with Malkin, and then he had the bucket hat, and the Canada flag,
It's
and
about
two sticks.
it's about playing it up and having fun. why don't we let guys with personality go there? Like, the fact Datsuk's not here, and you can say what you want, he's a fucking unbelievable hockey player.
Okay, I don't deny that. I'm not the biggest fan of Datsuk, but when it
He's
comes
amazing.
down to skills, well, I'd be hard pressed to find someone even more skilled. Go ahead, Greg.
Siri, who is the Magic Man? Oh, you're not going to tell me. But
Your phone's not silent.
It's Pavel Datsuk.
No, it's Claude Ginger Jesus Giroux. Just kidding. He's not the Magic Man. He's Jesus.
It's
He walks on
Pavel
water.
Datsuk,
Yeah, it
though.
shows Pavel Datsuk.
I mean, any player can be a personality if they want. Like, I mean,
I guess so.
Bufflin's a prankster. Give him the GoPro.
Yeah.
He'll have fun with it.
Yeah,
if
he
you're,
definitely
If you're
will.
talking about going back down to that to captains, then out of the players that we know going, I would have given Patrick Kane, because he's quite the character, and on the other side, or another guy elected. Who else is elected that's that kind of a character?
Yeah.
No, you said that you had someone you wanted to say, so say that guy.
You want to make it interesting?
You can do Price.
Yeah.
Carey Price?
Yeah.
He's alright. He's
Luongo
weird,
would
but
be good.
he's alright.
Or like Phil
Luongo.
Kessel.
Luongo.
Yeah, Luongo would be great.
Bobby Labango. Yeah.
Just an idea that popped in my head. Why don't, if they're so insistent on making it even, why don't they have one guy from every team and the team votes on who it is?
I wonder if they don't already do that.
Like a locker room vote.
That'd be cool.
Yeah, and then you're just like, hey guys, everyone vote for
Or
Blue.
that's like, did you
Maybe pair up teams and like
Yeah.
one team picks the other
Yeah.
team's
Yeah.
all-star.
Did you hear
I don't know.
Did you hear Thornton? Like, just speaking of like guys to
No.
pick, they were like, "Oh, are you getting excited to find out who got elected for the All-Star game?" And he's like, "I'm going to Cabo." Like, seriously, he doesn't
Sean
give
or
a
Joe?
Or Big Joe,
Oh, okay.
Jumbo.
Well, there was
Yeah.
a big deal.
Wait,
lot-
who's represent? Oh, Brent Burns is.
There was a big deal a couple of years
Couture
ago.
should be there too. Yeah, I'm Pavelski.
There's a big deal. Was it 2 years ago when the teams weren't sending guys because they didn't want them to get hurt or didn't want them to play, and apparently the NHL sent out threats this year to the team saying, if your guy's chosen, you better make sure he goes.
Oh, that
That's
was. Oh,
stupid.
no! I know what you're talking about. Was that Nick Lidstrom? That
Yeah,
like
it
they
was.
took the fine, didn't they?
Maybe,
Because
I don't
he's like,
remember.
"No, I'm resting. I'm hurt. I'm
Yeah.
not going."
Yeah.
And then the NHL's like, "Fine, you'll take the fine on the 1-game suspension." He's like, "Okay, fine, whatever."
I
I
still
don't
get
quote
paid.
me, but I think it's Lindstrom who was that. Like, because he's older dude.
That's kind of ringing a bell. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So we've hit the mid-season point of the year. Do you guys just want to make some quick, bold
Yeah, we'll give us
selections
the
for
options
it?
here.
Okay.
Bold selections.
Who's your Hart Trophy winner so far?
Value to team.
Value to team.
Okay, super biased. I don't
Do you
give a
have to give
shit.
us nominate and like?
No, you pick any
I
player
know.
you want to.
By the way, last week's.
I know
was-
that everyone here is going to be super biased, so
Yeah,
go ahead.
super biased. Pardon my language, but I don't give a done shit. Jake, the motherfucking snake, score check.
Yeah, he
Joking
scored
me?
a lot of points.
Joking me?
There you go.
Dan,
Daniel.
value to team, right?
Value to team.
Yeah, it gotta be
it's
Jake
Voracek.
Voracek.
He's playing unbelievable right now.
I'd be hard pressed to say he's probably in the running for the actual NHL, not just Cameron's Hart.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's. You know who under the radar? Tyler Johnson. He's having
He's
a
playing
very good year.
Very quiet
He's
year.
outscoring Stamkos, I'm pretty sure.
Yep.
Like, points wise.
Nice.
So
Like that.
My pick, I saw it on the quiz yesterday, but I have to go with it. Pecorine.
Oh,
That's a good
God,
one,
I
too.
thought you were going to say Phil.
No, I'm not going to go. Like, we can talk about Phil in a bit, but overall, the reason, other than Phil Forsberg and that team right now, it's Pecorine. Posted a 931 save percentage and has a 1.88 goals against.
Yeah, it's not Shea Weber and his ridiculous defense.
No, it's Pecorine. Look at that. Look what happened with that team last year when
Okay,
he got hurt.
that's hard.
Value
Next
to team.
one.
Value to team.
Let me on it.
Okay, Calder Trophy.
Hutch.
Rookie?
I'm gonna say Hutch.
Rookie of the year.
I'm gonna say Hutchinson because I understand Forsberg's having a great year, but I think it's a lot harder for a 23-year-old goalie to come into the league. Like, he didn't even play in the AHL. He played the playoffs. He jumped right into the NHL from ECHL in a year. And he's leading the league in goals against average.
Not anymore.
Okay, well, he's right up there. With save
Picard's-
percentage.
Yeah, he's top 3 in both.
I understand. In my opinion, it's just a goalie doing that is very impressive. So that's why I'm biased, sure, but that's my honest choice.
I'll let you go first. Can you give me options? I'm drawing blanks.
Okay,
right
so
now.
there's
Hutch, I guess.
Aaron Ekblad, Hutch, Philip Forsberg.
Oh! Yeah, I'm done. Aaron Ekblad. And can I say what I was going to say about Aaron Ekblad anyways?
Yeah, sure, go ahead.
Okay, because I was just going to say milestone, so sorry guys, just take over.
Oh, yeah.
Aaron Ekblad Passes Ed Jovanovski for franchise scoring record as a defenseman was 21 points in 70 games from Jovo. Ekblad's at 22 points in 37 games played. He's producing at a 40-point pace. Only other 18-year-olds to do so. Who are they? There's two of them.
Nathan McKinnon? Or defenseman? Defenseman? At 18 years old.
They're real big names.
Carlson.
Scott Niedermayer.
No.
Lidstrom.
No. Dude, old.
Pronger.
Old.
Pronger.
No, older.
Bobby Hull.
Oh, no, Bobby Orr.
Bobby Orr.
Boom! That's one. Who's the other one? Okay, here's...
Can I get a hint?
Yeah.
Phil Housley.
Yep.
Oh,
Yeah,
really?
yeah.
Oh, jeez. Okay.
I was going to say he was a
Okay.
Jet. Dude, that's crazy.
That's
Ekblad.
nuts.
Ekblad.
Okay.
For sure.
Because Calder is kind of what you contribute to your team. I didn't know that stat, so Ekblad's definitely up there. Phil Forsberg. I'm... You know what? I'm being
Look at what
Nashville
he did
biased.
to that offense.
Yeah.
They didn't have it. They didn't have it.
They went from not having a 30-goal scorer to potentially having 2 with Neal and Forsberg. That Erat trade for Forsberg was a little bit criticized on Nashville's part at the start because they're like, well, you're an unproven player. Like, why is Washington giving him up? And then he comes here and he just
And
wrecks.
Washington's like, shit! Throws the papers.
Like, we were here 4 months ago debating if, like, Nashville is going to be any good. Here they are playing great, and he's one of the biggest reasons why.
Who was our
To be
pick
fair,
back then?
to be fair, the thing that we toyed with the most at the beginning of the year was whether Jets or Predators, who was going to finish 6th and who was going to finish 7th.
Yeah.
They're top 4 right now.
Very different. Next award.
Norris. Best defenseman.
Who's going?
I'm being so incredibly biased. Obviously, Mark Streit. I'm just kidding. Not Mark Streit. He's doing great year, though. Shea Weber.
Really?
Yep.
Giordano.
Oh, damn it.
Gotta be.
That's a good
Giordano
one.
is really doing well.
I'm still
so
thinking
good.
Weber's got the shaft. In my mind, he should get it. He hasn't won one yet. But that's not reason enough to win an award. But I'm being biased, so
I've never won a Hart Trophy. I want one.
yeah.
Who won?
Who are you
I'm
thinking?
having a really tough time thinking of who it's Drew Doughty.
Oh,
Look
yeah,
at what he's
dude.
doing. Like, I know you dislike Drew Doughty.
No, I know.
You
but
look
he's
at what
been
he's
doing
doing.
real good.
He's playing he's playing Ryan Suter minutes, and he's destroying everyone.
that hit on Mike Santorelli.
Oh my
Woo!
god!
Did you like when
Woo!
Like,
Cam must have loved when Scheifele hit him on the game and then threw him on the ice?
I did,
He's
and then I
having a
saw
different year.
Doughty get up and bulldog towards him. I'm like, oh my god, no, no, Mark, no.
but it's not only offensive numbers; it's just overall just play. He is one of the biggest reasons why LA's doing the stuff they're doing, even though that they're behind the Jets right now. But it's all part of their toy. They're going to finish 6th and win the cup.
Yep.
It's all part of their toy. Okay, Vezina candidates. Go ahead.
Ooh,
Best goalie.
I'm trying to. Pekka. I'll go with Pekka.
Are we
Only
unanimous on? Okay,
Pekka.
let's
I
make
only
cases for other people.
Okay.
So let's not all
I'm
pick
I'm drawing a blank in my head for goalies right now.
Okay, well you could go out. Yeah,
Oh,
you could say
okay.
Luongo.
Luongo, that's mine.
Okay, what's your case for Luongo?
He's the reason Florida is where they are.
There you go.
He
Okay.
is.
Now
Somebody. Okay, I think
I'm
Pekka.
gonna-
I think we can all agree Pekka is definitely one of the best reasons. Who do you pick?
I'm trying to think of another. Who are the other good goalies?
Lundqvist,
Quick.
Fleury, Quick.
Okay, I'll take
Bobrovsky.
Fleury. I'll take Fleury because his resurgence in play and that he's really
Actually,
picked
Fleury,
up.
that's a good one.
Sorry, he's always good in regular season, but it seems like he's steadied off, and it seems like they're playing it so that he's going to be good in playoffs too. Sure, Crosby's numbers have dipped, but Fleury is also always there when they don't score, when they're not scoring either. I'd take Fleury.
Okay,
I guess.
I have 2, but a stipulation on the first one. If this was November, I would say hands down Ryan Miller, but he's definitely tapered off a lot. He was playing really well at the beginning of the year. He's tapered off since then. It's Carey Price, hands down, even though I hate the Canadians. I would love to have Carey Price as my goaltender because he's consistent game after game, year after year, and he's something to rely on. And the fact that they have Zach Fucale, Dustin Tokarski, and Carey Price is pretty scary when you think about it, especially in a few years. Okay, and Jack Adams.
Paul Maurice. I understand people are going to say Laviolette. Here's my reason. Nashville, if you look at their team, when they analyze, whenever the media analyze that team, it's never like Nashville's not a good team. They just didn't do good the last couple of years. You look, they have one of the best goalies in the league. They've always played a good system. They have one of the best defensemen in the league. So to me, it's not that surprising that a good coach goes there and they have success. You look at Paul Maurice, what he's done with the Jets. All anyone said about the Jets last year is they don't have any good players. The core they got's useless. Terrible goaltending. They're terrible. That one guy said we were going to be the worst team in the league.
Yeah.
And so
Justin Bourne.
yeah. So
Burned in the back of my head.
to me, Paul Maurice to get this team a playoff team in the Western Conference is more impressive than to get Nashville back to the playoffs, in my opinion.
Okay.
So that's my case for Maurice.
A point to kind of help his argument with Maurice. If you look at Maurice, his highest paid player right now is at 5.75, and that's Toby Enstrom.
He's got a lot of 5 guys, though.
Yeah, no, I'm not debating that. But you look, they were missing 4 of their top 4 defensemen for a month, and they didn't taper off or lose a playoff spot in that time. Now, I also have to tell you, they don't have a $7 million goalie like Nashville does in Pekka Rinne. They don't have a $12 million man in Shea Weber. But yes, if you look at
You're
overall,
welcome, Nashville. Signed, Philadelphia.
But my guy that I'm going to pick this year, Peter Horchak. Just kidding.
Actually,
Pete Horchak? If you're thinking Pete Horchak,
No.
I'm thinking Mike Yo, baby. Woo!
No, he's going to be fired.
I know, that's why I pick him. Sorry, Brett.
Barry Trotz.
Damn you!
Yeah.
that's good.
Okay.
Washington's resurgence to the top of the Eastern Conference might have begun. Braden Holtby is starting his 26th straight game tonight.
Cool, franchise record, bro.
Yeah.
Oh.
And he's playing great hockey. That team is playing great hockey. They're
That
playing
could have been
Barry
a
Trotz hockey.
Another Vezina guy.
Damn, that could have been another wrestler.
See, is it though? Like he's not even talked about in the All-Star talk. Two, I don't know. A lot of people were knocking Washington on their defensive picks. Even us, we were saying that those contracts were kind of bad, but it's helping the team out and they're winning. Mm-hmm. Can you really fault them? I don't think so. They're doing
a lot of money, but
those contracts
doing,
aren't bad now. But in 5 years, when Brooks Orpik's 38, making $6 million, that's gonna suck.
For what they're paying him for now, sure, they spent a little bit of money. I just want to say about Brooks Orpik, you're very rude. Do you see what he said last week? I know you guys wouldn't have said. Well, he did an interview and he's like,
I wouldn't take my kids to the
I wouldn't
Flyers
take
game.
my kid to the Flyers game. You see some stuff. Sir, did you see the picture of Capitals fans? They did blackface and they were in Joel Ward jerseys. Yeah. What? Oh, and just a note on the Caps side, to aid your argument, not aid at all, because Ovi can score no matter what coach is coaching him. He has scored his 74th game-winning goal, which passes Peter Bondra for franchise record.
He holds franchise he's gonna hold almost all the franchise records at the end.
He might even be goalie in a bit.
Yeah.
He's gonna.
Okay, who's your pick for Jack Adams?
Okay, you took Maurice Trotz.
You want Laviolette?
Lavi in Nashville?
Or would you rather have Randy Carlisle wherever he ends up?
No, I'll take Laviolette. And only because... No, not only because...
Or the guy
I agree
in
with
Vancouver.
every point Dan made. The guy in Vancouver.
Or would you rather have Bob Hartley in Calgary?
They've kind of tapered
Okay.
off a bit.
Yeah, they have.
I agree with
As
every
everyone
point
knew
that
they
Dan
would.
said, how Nashville's always had a good team. It's just... I think now, with the moves that they made, back to what we said, how we were debating when the podcast first started, like 6th or 7th in the Central. We were like, well, who are they going to score? James Neal? He can't do anything by himself. But it just seems as though the pieces fell into place and Laviolette directed them as to where to go properly, I guess. I'll take Laviolette, but realistically, in my mind, I think it's probably either Trotz or... I will put Trotz and Maurice ahead.
I think Maurice has to be in the talks there.
He has to at least be a nominee.
Yeah.
If they make the playoffs.
Here's the other thing, too, is like, it seems as unfair as it is, it's always the teams at the top of the league that kind of get that kind of... I think if Winnipeg makes the playoffs, without a doubt, you have to think of Maurice. Even if Washington makes the playoffs, you have to think that Trotz is in that conversation. But the guys that remain in the conversation are Babcock, Boudreau, and whoever's coaching.
Well, because you win, right? It's
Pittsburgh.
winning is what
I'd say
the numbers.
Vigneault too. And the Rangers doing really good right now.
Yeah, they're playing quite well.
Any other awards? Are we missing?
No, that's
Just the
kind of
major ones,
Those
yeah.
are the major kind of ones that we can speculate now. Like, yeah, we could talk about Lester B. Pearson or the other awards like that. But it's too early to tell with some of them. Quick note. USA wins the Women's World Under 18 against Canada 3-2 in overtime.
Oh, and just to note on last podcast regarding Canada, Team Canada has won the World Junior Championships every year. It's ended in 5. They won in 85, 95, 05, and 15.
Too bad it's not 9.
Okay, quick note today. Nick Kyprios. This is why we already talked about Damien Cox and his stupid tweets. Nick Kyprios on the Fan 590 today said, well, I think it's time for the Leafs to think about trading Phil Kessel. I hear Max Domi's available. Are you freaking kidding me? He hasn't played a game yet in the NHL, and you want to trade him for a guy that scores 80 points a freaking year? Frick, this is why you suck, Sportsnet!
Greg.
Bob McKenzie and Darren Dreger would never say this.
I went to go watch a Leafs game against the Ducks the other night, and it was blocked. It's a local blackout. What the piss? You said you were going to fix this, Sportsnet. Fuck you. Fuck you. I'm sorry.
No,
I bought Phil Kessel socks. I did.
all
I've got
like
no hate. I can't.
all
I can't
anger
yell.
aside, this is what's wrong with people. And I even heard a conversation in my hockey dressing room last night after the game. Oh, everything to blame on Kessel. I'm like, it interjected. I was like, how can you blame a guy that scores 80 points a year?
You can justify his contract. They pay him to score, and he doesn't no matter who's his line.
And then they're like, well, he doesn't play both ends of the ice. Neither does Ovechkin. That's not what they're paying him for. They're not paying him to be, hey, you know what? You got to play both sides of the ice. You got to have like a 60 Corsi rating, or what's the point of having you? No, he's there for one reason, and it's to score goals.
They are Jonathan Caves. They're their own people.
And then it's like, he probably scores more than any other winger. He's going to be the highest scoring winger, potentially the highest scoring Toronto Maple Leaf in all time if he stays a Leaf for his entire career, ever.
Did you know, as of, when was their last game played? Last night?
Yeah.
That was his 407th consecutive game. He second all time for Leafs passing Sid Smith, sitting at 404. He has 79 games to catch the most consecutive played Leaf player ever. Who's that player, Greg? Who's that player?
Matt Sundin?
No, whoa, no.
Darryl Sittler?
Way back, dude.
Darryl Sittler?
This guy is so good, he's a franchise. Tim Horton!
Yeah.
Are you freaking, what? Dude, when you think of Phil Kessel, what do you think of? Not delicious donuts.
Now,
like
here's the
Tim
other
Hortons?
thing about Phil Kessel. Cam's a huge Phil Kessel fan. I'm a huge Phil Kessel fan. You look at the top wingers in the league right now. The reason why they're top wingers in the league, they have a top centerman to play with. Who does Phil Kessel play with?
Kylie Bozeman.
Either Tyler Bozak or Nazem Kadri on occasion. On occasion. If they're feeling really gutsy, they'll play Nazem Kadri there. But
and we used to complain about Brian Little.
Yeah. Like they have, if you put Ryan O'Reilly there, whoa. Now he's a first-line center.
The puck.
He could score 100 points this season. He's not the issue. I'm sick and tired of people thinking he's the issue. Here's the other thing that I have a problem with them going after Max Domi. Let's go after a guy that's not proven. Let's go after a guy that had a great World Juniors. You know who else had a really good World Juniors and never really panned out to be like a top guy? Brad Marchand had a great World Juniors.
You know who
Didn't
else?
pan out.
Matt Halschuk.
Matt Halschuk. You could talk about Braden Shen was one of the best, and he's a third-line player. You could talk also, you could say Justin Pogge, Jeff Glass. Freaking Sean Bell was there too one year. Like, there's guys that make this. It's because he's 19 playing against 18 and 17-year-olds, and he's outstanding because of it. He's also playing on a line with an NHL player who's now obviously back in the OHL, and he was playing. Max Domi was on a line with Anthony Duclair and...
And
Sam Reinhart, who was another top 3 pick. It was just a recipe for him to do well. Saying that Kessel is worth as much as Max Domi is like saying we should trade Jacob Trouba for freaking Andrew Ference or something like that. That's the same argument. It is absolutely ridiculous. It's... You know what you're getting with Kessel every year. You don't know what you're going to get with Max Domi. Now, is that saying I don't want Max Domi? Hell no. Trade anything to get him. Make your core Domi and Kessel for the next 8 years. I don't care. Trade Kadri, trade Franz, and I don't care. I want Max Domi. But it's just, it's stupid to think that Kessel's the problem when he's the one that scores your goals. The problem was crappy systems with Randy Carlyle. The problem was... They don't, if you look at their team, anybody outside of me. They have one top 3 forward and 3 top 6 forwards. Everyone else is bottom 6.
Yep.
Everyone. Kadri, Van Riemsdyk, and Kessel. I only put Lupul in there because he's never on the team to play. If he was there, he'd be top 6. But other than that, they don't have top 6
three
forwards.
times he's there.
That's fair.
But, like, even at the beginning of the year, we all agreed the Jets had a top 6. You look, little lad Wheeler, then you have Buff even, you have Scheifele, you have Kane, you have Perreault, and you had Frolik. The Leafs, after you name Bozak, Kadri, Kessel, Van Riemsdyk, Lupul, your next is Daniel Winnick, Mike Santorelli, David Booth, Leo Komarov,
Peter Holland.
Like, they're not second-line guys. The team's built depth-wise, like third line down, and you even noticed it when they're here in Winnipeg. They're missing Kadri and Holland and Lupul, and they just have no scoring. They just rely on Kessel a lot, and when Kessel doesn't do well, it gets inflated because they don't have anyone else to help him out. The primary scoring is there. The secondary scoring isn't.
Kessel gets the blame because he's the guy that they rely on, and if the team they're playing shuts him down, the other guys can't pick up the slack. Everyone's like, well, Kessel didn't win them the game. Yeah. So I think he gets a lot of unfair criticism.
The reason they go after Kessel as well, we talked about it, was that it's Toronto. Basically, they lack leadership. Is the sounds of what everything. It's not that Kessel isn't a leader, but he's not. He leads by example. He's pretty well kept. Like, he doesn't like doing interviews that much.
No.
Very rare. And when he does, they go Ari because people want to jump on him for the stupidest things. To counter Max Domi before whatever you say, Max Domi. Okay, I would never do that trade. That's ridiculous.
Yeah,
but what I was going to say was...
And this is my problem with Sportsnet, is these guys throw things out there just to get reactions of people, just so they have extra stuff to talk about and write about. They're not educated guesses. They are stupid remarks because they know they're going to get a reaction of it. Both Cox, both Kiprios do it, and that's why I don't like them, is because they have no journalistic integrity to actually try to report a legitimate story. They just want to stir the pot and see what comes out, and then they want to block as many Twitter people as possible to fill their egos at the end of the day. That is why I don't like either of them. And that's why they shouldn't be on TV. Because I'd love to get paid to just throw out stupid comments like, hey, let's trade both Sedins for Stamkos and Drouin. Boom, there you go. Make the connect better. That's how you do it.
You sound like Cherry there.
No, I
was
don't.
just going to say about Domi, one thing he has done that I think he's one of the very rare people to do it. I don't even know the number on this one. If there's a stat, he probably is it. He's played in the last 3 Memorial Cups. You're only allowed to play in junior unless you get special eligibility for 5 years, but normally 4. He could. London has a good team. He could potentially... He's never won it, though, so... I mean, Toronto, you're trading away a non-leader for a non-leader again. I mean,
he was the
Winnipeg
Jet
in
that
circles.
could have been.
Yeah, that would have been nice.
I know. Sorry.
Okay, quick point. I'm going to list you guys off the top 10 teams in points. Or top 10 players in points.
Okay.
It's quite an interesting list.
Can you say number 1 and number 4 real slow?
No, I'll say number 1 and number 3 real slow.
Oh, nice, good.
Voracek.
Wait, what's his nickname?
Jake the Snake.
He's so beautiful.
Okay, Evgeny Malkin, Ginger Jesus or Claude Giroux, Tyler Seguin, Sidney Crosby, Patrick Kane, Tyler Johnson, Vladimir Tarasenko, Ryan Getzlaf, Steven Stamkos, Phil Kessel, Nicholas Backstrom, Nikolai Kucherov. Oh, sorry. The top 10 ends with Stamkos and Kessel.
How many points is Kucherov?
Funny how there's only one other player in that top 10 that isn't listed with a centerman that he plays with, and that's Vladimir Tarasenko.
Vladimir Tarasenko plays with Jaden Schwartz, though.
Yeah, but it's just Kessel and Tarasenko that's in the top 10.
Oh, that aren't centers?
That aren't centers that have somebody else, that have, they're the only wingers that don't have a centerman also in the top 10.
Damn.
Because Voracek has Giroux.
Yeah.
I guess Taves isn't there, but we all know Taves and Kane.
Taves plays with Patty Kane.
Yeah.
Taves is the Patty Kane.
But if you look, a lot of them are centers. Getzlaf, Johnson, Crosby, Sagan, Giroux, Malkin. Oh, it helps if you have a number 1 center, which the Leafs don't have.
Throw Patrick Kane.
So that's not the issue. The issue is they don't have enough players. That was my note on the Kiprios thing. Go ahead, Cam.
Patrick Kane joins Dennis Savard as only Hawks to begin career with at least 8 straight 20-goal seasons. Savard has 10 of them. That's unbelievable. Speaking of hot starts, David Pasternak is the first 18-year-old to have a multi-goal game in over a decade for the Bruins. Who was the last player on the Bruins to do that? 18-year-old. He played for Team Canada that year, nonetheless.
Brad Marchand?
10 years ago?
10 years.
Bergeron.
Patty B.
Okay.
Patrice. Oh, and we were talking about goalies a little while ago. I don't know if the Kings, I don't know what's going on with the Kings, but the Kings know how to draft goalies or acquire goalies.
Matt Jones.
Martin Jones
Martin
becomes
Jones.
fastest goalie, 29 games played in modern history since 67-68 to record 7 shutouts. The other person to do that would have been was Steve Mason, 32 games played. Martin Jones has played 29 games. He has 7 shutouts. Out of all his starts, 26% of them are shutouts.
Trade bait.
Sweet
Trade bait.
No.
mama.
Not yet.
Oh, and just talking about goalies again. Roberto Luongo, 390 wins, passes Dominik Hasek for 11th all-time on wins. And Roberto Luongo has officially beaten every team in the NHL. And
Oh,
Hasek got his number retired by Buffalo.
There you go.
Hmm?
I want to start a new segment right now.
Did you just think of it?
I originally had it on the sheet for this week, and then I took it away. Do we have time for it?
Yeah, whatever. We're
You
well
took the
over
whole
it now.
sheet
So
away.
Yeah.
it's fine.
Trade bait. Talking about trade bait.
Mm,
Trade bait.
Boom.
trade rumors?
Trade bait. No, top teams with tradable pieces on their team. I'm just going to give you guys a list. Let me know what you think. Ryan O'Reilly, Colorado Avalanche.
Okay.
Okay, what's the proper response or
What are we
trade
supposed
bait?
to say?
Yeah.
No, I'm just going to leave these on the table, then we can
you're
discuss.
just saying it.
So Ryan O'Reilly,
Overpaid.
Keith Yandel,
Overpaid.
Antoine
Just
Vermette.
kidding. Overpaid.
Vermette would be awesome. Okay.
Yeah.
Really? You think Vermette?
The Jets actually.
Vermette hasn't played with anyone, and he
The
put
Jets
up 100
actually.
points.
Jets actually were talking to the Coyotes over Christmas as well.
Really? Apparently, Jets were also I
Mike
don't know.
Richards?
Mike Richards.
Richards.
Yeah, the Jets also allegedly in talks with Kings about him.
I was going to say something about the Wild. Wild acquired Devin Dubnyk today for a third-round pick from they traded a third-round pick for Devin Dubnyk from the Arizona Coyotes
I think
to help their goalie situation because
something's
Darcy
gonna
Kemper
happen.
went on.
Someone's getting shipped out of there.
Well, it could be Mike Yu.
I mean,
No, like player, I think.
Oh, a little quick note
I don't
about
know.
sorry, Brett, but we have to do this. You know what? Why did my phone do this?
here, while you're
No.
trying to find that,
No, I have it right
the
here.
Flames acquire center Drew Shore from the Florida Panthers for
Shore, okay.
Corbin Knight. Probably they're looking for a third-line center, basically.
I can
just
tell you
weird
it-
fact
oh,
about
sorry.
Drew Shore, if he plays one more NHL game, he needs waivers to go back to the AHL. So he's playing in the AHL.
So he'd be under the Ben Sherratt rule.
Basically.
I was just gonna say trade bait team. When Trouba comes back, the Jets are gonna have to do something because they just have too many defensemen.
Yeah.
So that's
Guys that
another-
are also trade bait, I would put up there are Paul Postma and Adam Party.
Uh,
And
You're not
it
going to
was-
get much.
Party, you
No.
won't get anything. Postman, you might be able to fetch
Postma
some.
might be something. Another guy to Cam's maybe dismay. A couple guys that I look at on Philadelphia that could be trade bait.
The 3 centers, the young ones.
Braden Shen.
Yeah.
Yep.
You could maybe put Sean Couturier up there.
Matt Reed.
Matt Reed. Nicholas Grossman is my other one.
Oh, God.
Apparently,
Who wants Nick Grossman?
I
I'll
also-
give you Nick Grossman.
I
for Magpies if you
also,
take that contract.
Cody
allegedly,
Eakin.
Mark Strait, Braden Coburn, and
Where are you hearing these from?
one other defenseman is they're willing to move.
And obviously to
Haven't
stay
heard
on
those.
the Minnesota Wild, Ryan Suter gets suspended 2 games for his vicious elbow on Steve Downey.
Man, is he learning some stuff from Matt Cook? Which Matt Cook, that son of a bee, didn't even get
Let's be fair.
fined or suspended. He crushed Jack Shea, the Woodsman rubber, right in the face.
Let's be
Okay.
fair. It's Steve Downey. He's probably doing the league a favor.
No,
not nice.
you know what? He's
Not
played
nice
very
at all.
well in a Pittsburgh Penguins jersey this season.
He played very well in the
Um,
Flyers jersey, too. I like him.
Wild lost yesterday to the Penguins, 7-2. Wild are 0-5-1 in their last 6, 2-8-4 in their last 14. One of those wins against the Jets. 7-12-5 in their last 24. 0-4 last 4 on the road. 5 goals in that time.
In
That's how-
5 games?
In 4 games, they have 5 goals.
Dude.
Yeah, they are not
Something's
playing
going
well.
on there. I don't.
It could be coaching. A lot of people are starting
I
to think.
it's goaltending.
A lot of people are starting to think it's Ryan Suter. I've heard from multiple people on Twitter, people talking that Suter is running that team into the ground because he's very selfish about his ice time. And it's, you do things my way or I'm not going to like playing with you.
Weird.
And he runs people out of town.
Weird also, because back when Suter Weber played together, everyone knew that they had to pick one. They basically wouldn't be able to afford both of them because they were both going to ask for more. Suter gets this monster contract, and Nashville's like, okay, well, if we're going to pick one or the other, it's going to be Shea Weber.
Yeah.
Suter goes to this team, and now we're hearing this again. And just a weird note, Parise was away for a couple days because his father, JP, passed away.
Yes.
Shucks.
Obviously.
Our condolences, of course.
Oh. Go ahead.
No,
Go ahead. No. Go.
I was going to lead back to you, so go.
I thought you were going to say something about Minnesota.
Oh, well, no.
Go Ryan Suter.
Yeah, it's just weird how that's the first time I'm hearing about Suter, but I mean, what was that play? You saw that elbow. What the hell was that?
Just trying to think who
I didn't
was
see it.
the defense.
It was like, okay, Greg is Downey, and but he's coming straight at me, going this way.
It's like going.
He did this. He did this.
Like blindside? Oh, just like chicken wing?
Sorry.
Chicken wing.
I'm
But no,
extending
here's
my
the
arm.
thing. It's Downey's going in between the two circles, right in between the two hash marks. And Suter's right in the slot. Shot goes to the net, kind of goes wide. So Downey's going back to hustle, get the puck, and Suter just sticks out his elbow and fishtails or just wings him right in the face. Right in the face. Downey doesn't return to the game. No penalty on the play, but at least the league caught it because when things happen that fast, it is kind of crazy when you think about it. That the refs just don't see everything, which is totally fair.
How are you going to move that contract?
You can't. You can't. And here's the thing: they've nailed themselves into that, and that's the biggest problem. And the other issue that they're going to face is simply defensemen don't want to play there. They just don't because they're not going to have time to grow. How are you going to say to a guy look at Jacob Trouba? He was our penalty killing leader. He's playing a ton of minutes.
He was the points leader for defensemen when he got hurt.
Yeah, exactly. You look at that and you say, if he was on Minnesota Wild, he would be getting 7 minutes a game because Ryan Suter wants that extra 10 minutes because it's Ryan Suter's team because Ryan Suter wants to play.
Yeah, and look what happened to Ryan Suter in the playoffs. He basically got ran into the ground. They survived round one.
Because
round two,
they were able to
done.
They were able to play a good defensive game against Colorado, and Colorado couldn't keep it up because their Corsi was too low and they didn't have a good possession game. They're going to have to change, and they're going through that change right now, and that's why they're not playing as well. But now that's why they're kind of gaining steam now. They're also not scoring at the same click they were last year. But to that point is, I think people are finding out that maybe these big contracts aren't the way to go with players because a lot of contracts you look at now are pretty bad.
Well, look at Mike Richards.
Solidified.
Look how far in 3 or 4 years. Look how far he's fallen to the point where he's a fourth line. He's on a very deep team, but he's a fourth line player. He makes $6 million, and they're gonna have to probably eat 50% of that cap.
50.
No one's gonna take him for 5.75.
15 is the most I bet you.
Same with David Clarkson. You could argue.
Would you take Mike Richards for?
I would say $4 million.
His cap hit is $5.75. You know how much they have to pay him per year? $7.6.
Yeah,
that's bonus
bad.
Though. With a bonus, right?
No, that's
for winning the cup too, though. That's one of the big
his
reasons.
salary.
That's not the cap
hit. That's how much he makes.
No, he already had
each
that
year.
contract. He got that contract from Philly.
Yeah,
but you get bonuses when you win the cup.
But you know how
yes.
Okay, Evander Kane, his cap hit's 5.25, but he gets paid 6.
Yeah,
that's what Richards is. He's 5.75 cap hit. He gets paid 7.5.
Yeah,
that's the way his contract's
Dean
weighted.
Lombardi isn't he never loses a trade. If anything, it's going to be equal or his way. If I'm Dean Lombardi, I only absorb 20% tops.
30%.
Tops.
30.
20.
He's got 4 years left.
It's Lombardi.
Well,
he's a smart dude.
He's going to be hard pressed. You know what?
Does he have to move that contract? Is the other question.
He doesn't have to. But Mike Richards, he would fit on the Jets' third line, but
is it paramount?
Not for $5 million. If you can get him for 3 or.
We'd have the highest. We'd have the highest paid third line. We'd have Kane, Richards, and Lowry on our third line.
But it'd be a big physical line.
If they were willing to go to 3, Dean Lombardi could probably swoop another team for for Mike Richards. Think about a team say
I'm
maybe
saying,
Columbus. You go.
My front runner to get Mike Richards. Columbus is up there for sure.
Islanders.
They popped in my head a second ago. Edmonton Oilers.
Maybe.
And in return,
Eberle.
maybe.
Yak. It's got to be one of those.
It's
two.
got to be, but the thing is they're trying to move contract, not trying to absorb more contract.
Oh, so Yak. Then it's got to be.
It could be Yak. You could look at maybe getting the rights to Leon Draisaitl. I know that's tough for Edmonton to give up, but you might have to do it. You might just have
Edmonton's
to.
going to have to part with something
Well,
they
even
have.
earlier this week we heard of or I heard this just off like my NHL trade rumors. I think it was. Either way, it was allegedly Carolina had contacted Edmonton and said we don't want players. Or we don't want.
Oh, the draft
We want
picks.
your top. We want your top
number
pick.
one. Yeah.
So they They basically are going after like they want pick 1, 2 or something.
Yeah.
So
You were saying that.
What
No,
are they
a play-
offering Eric Stahl?
Huh?
What are they offering? Stahl?
it's probably I'm assuming it's like Stahl or Ward or a combo.
Skinner?
But it would probably be if they're
not Skinner.
no, it's Skinner.
They're gonna
now. It's
they're gonna
Skinner's
keep
team
their core now is Rask, Skinner, Lindholm. That's their
Khudobin.
offensive core. Khudobin. They're probably
now.
going to go
and
after
our favorite All-Star, Justin Falk.
and Justin Falk. They're going to go after Hannafin in the draft. I have a feeling, unless obviously McDavid or Eichel are still there. But if they get that third pick, they're going to pick Hannafin. There's no doubt.
Pending the 1 or 2 doesn't take him, right?
Yeah,
But yeah.
like if they could get both Eichel and Hannafin, or McDavid and Hannafin, that would just help them out even
Imagine
more.
if they could swing like I don't even know. I don't think.
And
this
they
is-
would. I think they'd be willing to part with Eric Stahl, Cam Ward, and Jordan Stahl for that to happen.
Eric Stahl and Cam Ward for Yakupov in the first.
That's too
It's
much.
either going to be no.
Too
It's
much for who?
I was about to say Eberle.
Too much.
No, I was going to say that makes it. It's
too
got to
much
be. It's
which
got to
way?
be one of those guys. It's got to be Yak or.
Are you
X.
saying Carolina's giving up too much? Saying Edmonton's
I
giving
think
up too
Edmonton's. You can't. In Edmonton's mind, is you cannot give up that generational player that you could potentially.
They've
get.
already had their chance.
I know.
They had their
They
chance.
have 4 of them, and they're all useless right now.
I know. No,
Because
I'm not.
Maybe they're not bringing in the right pieces. Imagine
They
Stahl
need
and Hall.
defense and goaltending. That's
Yeah, Stahl and Hall would be. But it's like it's. Yeah. No, I agree with you 100%.
We're basically talking
But,
out of our ass at this point.
The other people that are potentially rumored to go, Kyle Quincy from Detroit.
Yep.
Both stalls on Carolina.
Did you take Jordan Stahl on the Jets' third line?
No.
How much does
what
he get
the
paid?
Jets?
Does he get paid a lot?
Yeah, he gets like $6 million a year.
Yeah, that's too much.
See, here's the thing: if the Jets want to round out their top 9, they have a player that plays for them that would fit perfectly, better than Matt
They
Halstrad.
need
Played
to
on a
replace-
team's first line last year. TJ Gagliardi. They just need to give him that chance. In the
They
field.
have to.
They have to play him.
They do have to replace Halishuk. I'm not discrediting him. I just think he's too small to play in the Western Conference. He tries.
He's playing the Western Conference his entire career.
I just they can do better in my opinion.
They
But
could-
I would agree, Gagliardi. You could put Peluso. You could put anyone on that line and
Except
give him,
Thorburn.
and give him a shot.
Except Irwin.
You know,
You've already given him that shot. No.
give Peluso a chance to play with some actual decent players. See how he does. He's
You
got
could.
skill. You just don't know how good he is. If he actually has a chance to use it. I just
But we do have those extra D. You could dangle Postma out there. See what you could potentially get for Postma. We'll wrap it up right away.
Oh no, that's
You could potentially see what you can get for Postma. Maybe you can get that depth player. You could even give up a 4th round pick or whatever. I'm not saying trade away your future,
You could even give
but
up-
if you want to, there at this point in time, we're a month and a half away from trade deadline. Unless things go drastically wrong, why not buy a 3rd line player? That's what they need right now. They need a 3rd line
As
player.
I was just going to say, they were in talks with Arizona about Vermette. I understand he's a $5 million
he'd be a
guy.
rental. He'd be a rental.
He'd be a
because his
rental.
contract's up.
He'd be
Yeah.
a rental because he's
And that's
UFA.
honestly, that's what we need. We need a rental player that has either he's up this year or next year, because that's when we're going to see guys like Ehlers, Patan, or move into this lineup, because
Morrissey.
that's who's going to replace these guys. That's why we need a short-term commitment guy. That's why I don't think Richards is the answer, and I also don't think getting Jordan Stahl or Eric Stahl would be an answer either. Even though I'm sure it'd be great to have a perennial player like that, it's better to just
No, I would agree.
let the younger guys come in and develop. Even though Patan could still be a little bit distance away, everything always just comes back to the Jets. I swear. I just swear.
We're supposed to be Jets podcast.
I should have mentioned it earlier while we were
What?
talking about
Go ahead.
Sergei Bobrovsky, 4-year extension,
Oh, yeah.
28.7,
Yep.
7.425 average
Worth
AAV.
it. Worth it.
Interesting.
I'm just gonna say the big injuries because so many injuries happened this week.
All the injuries.
All of them. Seriously, Olimata out
Done
the
for
rest
the
of the year with a shoulder injury, possible surgery, but they kind of want to see if they don't have to do surgery. Last played December 6th.
Wait, is it upper or lower?
This would be upper if
Okay,
shoulder.
guys, we're playing a game called upper or lower.
Oh, well, we'll play this after
Yeah.
Olimata.
Okay.
He last year on the same shoulder, he underwent surgery for a torn labrum. Dan, what's a torn labrum?
Your humerus, which is your arm muscle. There's a little ball on the end of it. It fits into your shoulder, and the labrum is like
The muscle that holds it in place.
It like goes around the goes around the socket and just kind of like protects.
So what would torn labrum show? Oh, it's torn, so they kind of like go in and
Yeah.
stitch it.
So like it like outlines it outlines your shoulder, and where the arm fits in, it just kind of like protects it so that your arm doesn't rub against your shoulder.
Damn.
So,
Okay. Yeah.
That was very scientific.
Upper or lower? Patrick Hornquist and Blake Como, same one.
Mumps.
Good guess. AIDS. Upper or lower?
Upper.
Upper mumps. Lower mumps.
It's lower body. They're both out 3 weeks.
Damn it.
These ones are. Ooh, there's a split. Dan already said it earlier. Jimmy Howard.
Lower.
Yep.
Lower.
Johan Franz.
Middle. Technically, it's
Upper.
middle.
Middle. You're right. Groin. Slight groin tear. 2 to 4 weeks.
That's lower.
They're both.
It's below his penis. Lower.
Okay.
How do you know?
James Neal.
Oh, upper. Oh, lower.
It's a lower. IR.
What about Nystrom?
Ooh. Dan. Oh, damn. You might have seen it. Jared Tenorti.
Upper.
Ooh.
Upper.
Feast.
Lower. Other.
All three.
Concussion.
Oh,
Kind of.
other.
Kind
Okay,
of.
head.
Oh, yeah. He had a concussion. Brutal fight in the AHL with Utica Comets. Alleged heavyweight. Andre Padan. Did you see that?
No, but did you guys see the guy that clotheslined himself with a stick?
I did.
I can't get enough of that.
Oh,
Did
here
you
we
guys
go.
see? This is right off topic, but Patrick Coletta punched himself in the face during a fight a couple weeks ago.
Good for him.
No, I didn't know that.
No, I didn't know
How
that.
do you- how-
Oh,
To like psych himself
Was he-
up.
Oh, Jesus.
Weird.
continue.
Fucking weird.
Flyers, Steve Mason and Braden Coburn.
Lower.
Yes, correct. Mason, 2 weeks. Braden, 4 weeks.
Okay.
My goodness gracious.
Continue. Darcy Kemper.
No, and then just bad news. Simone Gagne will not return this
Yeah.
season due to personal reasons. But he told the team, he's like, I'm not coming back. But to make it work to like free up some cap space for them, he's on their roster as a suspended player.
Oh.
It's kind of weird. They kind of
So he's not going to get paid.
No, his
Well,
dad's
he
not
will.
doing too good. If
His dad passed away, I
then
believe.
there you go. So sorry to hear
Obviously, yeah.
You forgot
Another
the biggest-
player walking
you
away
for-
from
you
the.
forgot the biggest injury. Grant Clitsome done for the year.
Yeah.
that. Oh dang! I don't have.
And
that.
then the other note, Martin Brodeur is taking a week of absence away from the St. Louis Blues to think about his future in hockey, whether he's going to ask for a trade because both Allen and Elliott are healthy now, and he's kind of the third string guy.
when he
or
done
if he's going
Pooch,
to.
why?
I think
Such
you
a
should just
good
hang him
record.
up.
I'm sorry
Yeah.
to cut you off.
No, but
I think you should just hang him up. He had a great
he's
career.
got a few options: ask for a trade, ride the storm, and potentially win another cup with St. Louis because they're looking really good right now. Or retire is his other option. I was gonna make a final point. Ooh, yes, William Nylander of the Toronto Maple Leafs got recalled to Leafs and got sent down to the Marlies due to an option in his contract that said he had to be recalled by January 15th, I believe. They fulfilled that, brought him to the Marlies. Big reason being Moto Hockey, where he was playing.
Coach is fired. They're doing garbage.
They're the last place team. Funny though, Donald Brashear was signed there a month ago to actually protect William Nylander.
Are we talking about tough guys? Because Tom Bertuzzi joined the AHL affiliate Binghamton Senators for 25-game trial.
For PTO,
Yeah. Just weird fact about Nylander. If I know they said they're not playing him. If they do play him though, he doesn't lose a year on his contract because the Leafs have played 43 games, so they
That's
passed
awesome.
a half season point.
But then, from my understanding, they're not going to call him up.
No, they don't want to.
They don't want to.
Um,
The hype is too real. Willie Hockey, he does it all, folks. Have you seen it?
could you imagine if he just I don't know if he's played a game yet for the Marlies, but if he just scores 3 goals in one game, just him and Connor Brown,
Greg,
him and Connor Brown.
hold on. Who played? Does Colton North still play for them?
Yeah.
You know, I made a bet, and it's in my phone. I wrote it down, for the podcast. If Willie Nylander gets Colton Orr a Hattie and he assists on 2 out of the 3, I have to buy you a jersey.
Is
It's
Colton Orr
in
in
my
the league?
phone.
Is Colton
I
Orr
will
in the
hold that
league
for the
still?
AHL. I will uphold that rule.
Really?
2 out of the 3 assists. One of them has to be primary, though. Let's make that one.
Okay.
But 2 out of the 3
Okay.
goals, serious, I will buy you a jersey. And I was doing pump the brakes, so you're talking. Just imagine, hypothetically, Cody Franson Kylie Bozeman, and like a second rounder for Ryan O'Reilly. Okay? First game Ryan O'Reilly comes in.
Nylander walks.
Nylander at the top
And then,
line.
Okay, let's just talk hypotheticals around O'Reilly. Apparently, Colorado's in talks with Phoenix or Arizona. Pardon me.
Please God, don't say Philadelphia. Can't afford any more people.
Keith Yandel for Ryan O'Reilly, straight up one for one. That's
That'd be actually
that's the contract.
That wouldn't be too bad.
That'd be a decent trade both ways.
A lot of talk saying Ryan O'Reilly doesn't want to resign in Colorado because of what happened before, and also Phoenix is kind of trying to get rid of Keith Yandel because they want to start.
They've been trying to get rid of
rebuild.
Keith Yandel for like 5 years.
Yeah, they want to start the rebuild, and they believe Ekman Larson is the number one guy there.
He is.
Other note about Ryan O'Reilly is if he were to go to Toronto, Tyler Bozak would be in that deal. Because a lot of people feel that he's better than he is, even though he's not that great unless he plays with Phil Kessel. Other note, I would say, I don't want to see Franzen gone, but I could see them trading Franzen.
Would you trade for O'Reilly making $6 million a year?
Yeah. Oh, hell, he'd be the number
for the
one guy.
Jets? For the Jets or
No,
Flyers?
in
for
general.
the Leafs.
Leafs.
Yeah.
I would.
You know what?
I
I think
that's
he is.
overpaid.
I
for
like
him.
him.
No.
I
You could justify that, but that's coming from the team that's playing David Clarkson 5.2.
He's a good player. Like, oh, okay, yeah. And if you're going to be relative like that, then for sure, yeah. But
But I you know what? I'm really excited for this next month and a half as a Jets fan because they might actually start making trades. As a Leaf fan because they might blow everything up, and don't expect a Phil Kessel trade because if they do, I'm going full board Leafs. I'm going full board Jets.
Phil Kessel
Unless
Phil Kessel for Evander Kane.
I'll be out
No,
at
no.
least $80.
Unless
I
Phil
haven't
Kessel
got it
is
back
traded for one of the three players I mentioned next. Matt Duchene, Jamie Benn, or Joel Eriksson.
A third round
Just kidding.
unconditional.
Logically, Duchesne's maybe, you never know.
But I would go for Duchene, Ben, or
Holy shit, guys.
yeah, it's because your Jets report took up 55
You
minutes.
didn't let us swoop in and talk
We're a
smoothly.
Jets podcast.
So
Are we?
Even though Cam's
do
given
we
up on
literally need to talk about them for
Wait,
40
hold on.
minutes?
I just wanted to say, way
let's-
back to what we talked about before because we got it done rapid. You were saying Duchene, Jamie Benn.
Guys,
Key
there's
G-
3 dinosaurs. Everyone eat one.
Key
They're greens.
Key
Dollars.
GM. Sorry for the mashing. That was me. It was me eating dinosaur. Everyone was. But so GM making right decisions. Okay, this can date back all the way to Chicago picking Stu Bickle over or Brian Bickle over Ben Eager, knowing the right choice. Kudos on you, David Poyle, for picking Shea Weber over Ryan Suter because obviously you made the right decision.
Yep.
Another one would have been I don't know who the GM was at the time, but Jamie Benn over James Neal. This could be another decision.
For, you mean, in this sense, for Toronto?
I don't know why I said that. Sorry. I don't know why I said that.
For, like,
No,
You're-
I shouldn't have said that. What I meant to say was, that'd be sweet.
no, and to that point, actually, it could be a very big turning point for Toronto, saying, are they going to keep Kessel or trade Kessel? And to the other point of, are they going to trade Kadri, or are they going to trade Bozak? It's the same thing with...
Dude,
it's
why the hell would you keep Bozak over Kadri?
It's
Nasty
crazy.
Cadman?
They
Nasty
don't
Cadman?
like...
Honestly, you could get rid of
Kadri.
either of them and they wouldn't be
You know
able to
what?
get
I
anything.
think Kadri is one of the most underrated centers in the league, and I'm not just saying that because of a Toronto fan. Proof is in the pudding, especially with
Underrated
especially-
centers. You own a jersey of an underrated center named Brian Little.
Yeah,
I think he's
Very
getting
underrated.
his rightful credit now.
I think Kadri. Little. I think he's a
And I always crap talk Little before. but I'm,
one B first line center. He's in that B
Kadri?
category, and I think Kadri is in the 2A category. I think Kadri is a second line center. Leafs need a first line center, and Winnipeg's okay with Brian Little as their number one. The biggest thing I have noticed with Winnipeg is they do need to get better in their own zone in faceoffs in the third period.
face-offs, we are still not very good.
No.
Closing words?
Thanks, guys, for making the last 25 episodes so memorable. This
Yeah,
has
it
been
was
great.
fun.
Sorry for taking up the whole podcast, apparently. That's an hour and a half long.
Oh,
I'm
Lee,
sorry.
It's 10:19. I gotta be at school in 8 hours.
Well, you
no, in
guys,
10 hours, sorry.
maybe for the next
He
25,
has to
we'll
be at
stay
school
under
in 10
60.
hours, and he's got 7 hours of video
try.
games to play.
Let's try.
Okay, for the next 25, we're going to try and keep them under an hour.
I like
Okay.
how New Year's resolution were like, yeah, we're gonna keep it under an hour. This was what
The
hour 40?
last two we haven't kept under.
Yeah.
We could have watched like a full hockey game almost.
No, almost. Have any questions, comments, concerns for us? Check out our email.
Did we get any comments
lastmaninpc@gmail.com.
from Brett?
I haven't checked.
I talk to him from time to time. Hi, Brett.
I followed him on Twitter.
If they're still listening, that's ridiculous. That's unbelievable. Thanks, guys,
You mean a lot to us, Brett. We love you.
and everyone else involved.
Sorry
Yes.
that your hockey team's doing bad.
Sorry that everyone's hockey team isn't doing as good
Okay,
as Jets.
who's saying bye to everyone else?
You.
On behalf of Greg, Dan, and Cameron and Sean Couturier jersey, God, it looks so good. Have a good night.